Hello everyone, and welcome back to another review. This time we're going to be covering, upon request, the Terran Republic Carbines that are available. Keep in mind, I'm not going to touch on any DMRs, shotguns, or SMGs. This is only going to be for carbines, as I consider all the other weapons listed a different type of weapon, obviously. So to begin here, we're going to talk about the LC2 Links. This is a very fast-firing carbine. It's a little bit difficult to control because of that. Very high muzzle velocity. It is a powerful weapon. I prefer to go with the 1x scope and the advanced laser on it because most of the time you're going to try to fire this thing from the hip. And that's probably the best way it performs, as when you fire from the hip even, it will pull up into the right, as you can see. So with this kind of recoil, you better be good at controlling your horizontal recoil, otherwise you'll be off target. Now downrange, it'll do the same thing. Up and to the right. So when you're shooting, you're going to have to pull down to left to keep this on target, and at that point, if you can manage it, it's a very fast-firing and very damaging weapon. Personally, I prefer the Jaguar over it simply because it doesn't have that right pull. It stays nice and even horizontally, so all you got to worry about is the vertical adjustment. But if you can manage it, and especially at close range, this thing puts out a lot of ammo very quickly, so it's very dangerous, and a lot of good players like the Links. Jaguar has better popularity simply because it's more controllable. Now, for that control, you will give up fire rate. As you see here, the Jaguar has 750, so you lose 50 rounds per minute. Personally, that's acceptable to me. I go with the 1x scope, and I go with the advanced laser sight as well. And you'll notice on this weapon, it does not pull any particular direction. It just goes kind of straight up, and the recoil is kind of back and forth as far as horizontal goes. So downrange, you can really nail people without having to adjust too much for horizontal recoil. From the hip, this is a great weapon. It doesn't pull, so again, you're just going to go straight up whenever you shoot at something. That gives you a little bit better control, in my opinion, and that's why I prefer it. I'm always over accuracy over fire rate, just because I can tend to hit the head a little bit more. So if you're looking for a very accurate, good from the hip, good long-range carbine, the Jaguar is probably the best TR has to offer as far as mid-range goes. Now, I do want to cover also the NS-11C. This is a Nanite Systems weapon. If you purchase this weapon with Station Cash, it'll apply to all three factions. So you'll have this weapon available on NC and Vanu as well. So equipping this, we can see the fire rate's a bit lower because it is a Nanite Systems weapon. Still has the same 450 muzzle velocity, but what I find really unique about this weapon is, first off, you have access to a 2x scope. Now, that may not be a big deal to some people, but to me, it is. I also go with the advanced, the forward grip. This one does not have an advanced grip. There's only one on TR that does, and we'll showcase that here in a minute. So equipping this weapon, it doesn't really pull too much. It goes a little bit left, but it's not major. What's nice about it is it's not bad from the hip, and downrange with the grip, you really have some accuracy. It also reloads like a champ, as you can see. So you can pump out a good amount of rounds downrange fairly accurately, and then even from empty, it's a fast reload. If you're not entirely empty and you're shooting downrange, you can just literally reload within like a second or two and be back at it. So overall, this is a good gun. It's very accurate. As far as carbines go, I'd say this is a good one to use on any faction. The damage is okay. You know, the from the hip fire without a laser is actually pretty good. You can nail things without too much of a trouble. Downrange, great. It actually stays on target really well. Even at long ranges, you can just pelt your target. So a good carbine to have, and a good carbine to have on all three factions if you decide to go that way. Next up, I want to talk about the T5 AMC. I know a lot of people really prefer this weapon, and there's a reason. First off, it has the 2x scope I'm talking about, so a little bit better magnification at range. The advanced forward grip, though, is really where it's at. This is probably our best long-range carbine, and the reason being is you see this first off, and second off, it has 570 muzzle velocity, so the bullets are really going to travel a lot faster without loading HE ammo in or anything, or excuse me, HV ammo or anything else in. Fire rate, you lose a little bit. You're down to 652, but still very acceptable. In a close range fight, I personally don't like this weapon. It has a little bit of a unique look to it, but up close, it doesn't fire fast enough to really kill effectively. You can see how much slower it is. When you're shooting down range, this is very controllable. Even at long range, you can tend to hit them in the head without too much of a trouble. So overall, if you're looking for like a long range solution and you know, it's something that can at least defend yourself up close with, this is your best option. This is the best long-range carbine that is available to Terran Republic. So accuracy matters, go with this weapon. Next up, I'm going to talk about the Track 5. The Track 5 is the default engineer weapon. It does have the 2x scope, and it has single or non-advanced versions of everything. So personally, I like to go with the grip in this case, just because it gives it a little bit more punch-down range with that 2x mag. So you can nail targets pretty effectively downrange, and this thing does fire rather quick. As far as, like, you know, starter weapons go, it's good. I mean, this is not a bad weapon, and you will oftentimes be pushing this weapon towards Araxium just because it's very serviceable. Even up close, from the hip, it has good accuracy, it kills rather quickly, has a high, you know, high fire rate. It's a good weapon. I mean, I see nothing wrong with it. If you plan to stick with it, go right ahead. It's probably the best you can get for a starter weapon on this class. Next up, the Track 5S. The only reason to go for the Track 5S, in my personal opinion, is if you're going for the grenade launcher or the smoke launcher. Underbarrel shotgun, not so much. Forward grip, stick with the Track 5. So, the grenade launcher gives you the ability to obviously fire grenades downrange at your targets and blow the shit out of them. This is a good thing, gives you a lot of one-hit kill punch, gives you a punch against maxes without having to get up close and try to C4 them or mine them. As far as accuracy goes, it's hard to control. It's a bit wild on the vertical recoil, but this is a close-range weapon with long-range capabilities with the grenade launcher. I mean, if you're aiming down range with the grenade launcher, you're going to get, you know, a quick one-hit kill or an easy-to-finish target. So if you're trying to shoot long range with this, you're probably doing it wrong. Equip a different weapon, because this is an up-close killer. From the hip, not terribly accurate, but up close, you're putting out enough rounds, you're going to kill somebody. So the only reason to get that is if you want a smoke launcher or a grenade launcher. Okay, and lastly, going to be covering the Track 5 Burst. Track 5 Burst is a bad idea. I'm just going to go ahead and flat out say that. Any burst weapon in this game, you're doing it wrong. The devs have not implemented it correctly. Now, if you decide to go with it, again, whenever the 2X is available, my preference is to go with it. This still maintains the 750 RPM and has 490, so a little bit better velocity on the ammo. Forward grip is something you must have, since obviously you're going for a burst weapon. Now, keep in mind, if you look in the lower right-hand corner right now, you're going to see there are two fire modes. One, we have the 3-round burst, which is why it's called a burst weapon. We also have individual single shots. So, if you're trying to use it as a single-shot weapon, you're better off with a DMR, so get like an AMR 66. I mean, first shot hits the target, obviously, dead on. Not a problem. Burst fire, it's okay. Kind of pulls away from his target, so that's another reason why these aren't so good. You can almost full auto these things if you're a click master. So if you actually, you know, just click like a madman, like here, it almost fires as fast as the Track 5. But again, it's a waste of certs. Don't even bother with a burst weapon, in my opinion. My preference, again, I go with the Jaguar. I'll also go with the NS11C just because it's that accurate. If I'm looking at long range, I'll be considering the T5 AMC. And if I'm in a biolab or playing light assault or something like that, the Track 5S is an acceptable killing machine. And as you can see, I've got the Araxium with it, and a lot of that is from the grenade launcher. So feel free to choose whatever is up your alley, but that's a review of the Terran Republic Carbines. I'll probably cover something next, but again, I'm welcome to suggestions. Just put them in the comment section down below, and I'll be happy to read them. Take care, guys.